News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and now 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
Familiar theme sounded during the State of the State address. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning. It's Thursday, January 29th, 2015. Right now, some fog in the area. We've got 19 degrees. And our newscast this morning is sponsored by Kootenai Creek Village, the maintenance-free active adult community in Stevensville for the best of Western Montana living. This morning's top story, during Governor Bullock's State of the State address delivered before a joint session of the legislature last night, the topics of infrastructure spending, early kindergarten, and most emphatically, Medicaid expansion were stressed.
The Healthy Montana plan will bring our federal dollars back to Montana to cover those without insurance. We'll negotiate with a private carrier to drive down rates and reform the way that Medicaid is delivered in this state.
Bullock then took a shot at Republicans' plans to help cover more Montanans with their own health insurance plan.
I understand that there is a competing proposal being kicked around by some members of this body. It still relies on federal funds, yet refuses to take our fair share of those dollars. The bottom line is it would cover fewer people and it would cost more. We can do better.
While there is hope for infrastructure spending, the Republican-controlled legislature is standing firm against early kindergarten and expanding Medicaid so far. Steve Bullock, a Democrat, says he and Republican Senator Dwayne Ankeny are partnering to reform campaign finance in Montana. Nearing the end of his State of the State speech last night, Bullock addressed both chambers and a captive audience from the floor of the Montana House of Representatives in Helena. Bullock said the U.S. Supreme Court's 2010 Citizens United decision was, quote, anti-democracy, end quote. He denounced, quote, unlimited secret money, end quote, that elections have raised since the 2010 election. The Democrat-Republican duo's proposal would disclose, quote, every penny, end quote, spent in Montana elections. 26-year-old Galen Hawk entered a plea of guilty to negligent homicide yesterday in Lake County District Court for the October shooting death of a 3-year-old boy. Chief Deputy Criminal County Attorney James Lopatka has details.
The negligent homicide case stemmed from an incident a few months ago wherein he discharged a firearm and struck a 3-year-old boy, resulting in his death.
According to court documents, Hawk told authorities that he and the boy were playing gun tag, in which Lonato Moran Allen had a toy gun and Hawk had a .380 pistol. When Hawk fired the pistol and struck the boy, Moran Allen was taken to a Ronan hospital where he died of his injuries. Lopatka describes the next step in the process.
His attorney requested that a mental health evaluation be part of his sentencing evaluation. The judge ordered that a pre-sentence investigation be conducted by the Department of Corrections, and we're awaiting that right now.
Sentencing is set for March 25th. Authorities say the struggle to recover 30,000 gallons of oil from a pipeline spill into Montana's Yellowstone River could grind to a near halt in the coming days. Warmer weather has made the ice on the river increasingly dangerous. That means crews trying to recover oil trapped beneath the ice will soon be pulled off. Bridger Pipeline spokesman Bill Salvin said that any oil that washes up along the riverbank could still be cleaned up. The 12-inch pipeline broke January 17th near Glendive after a section of the line became exposed beneath the river for undetermined reasons. Yesterday, Montana Secretary of State Linda McCullough testified before the state legislature about House Bill 48, a bill making it impossible for Montanans to register to vote online. McCullough says the system would be safer and better than the current paper registration process.
It will allow us to capture the signatures through the Department of Motor Vehicles. It's actually a process that's as secure, perhaps even more so, than the paper form for the registration, because it only goes through the Department of Motor Vehicles. I mean, let's face it, we pay our taxes online, we pay bills online, lots of us like to shop online. It's very safe because it just goes through that one agency.
McCullough says paper registration forms would still be available, but also pointed out some of the flaws in that system.
It's really just the same process as the paper, but it's filling it out online, which actually is an advantage because lots of times when people fill it out on paper, you can't read their writing or it's incomplete, and then the counties have to end up calling the people if they can read the phone number. This way, it's all readable. They can't submit the form until it's all filled out.
A similar bill was put forward during the 2013 legislature. A Rosebud County jury has found the owners of a Colstrip bar could not have foreseen the fact that a Lame Deer man who was kicked out of the bar in 2009 would return with a gun and shoot and kill 2 patrons. Yellowstone Newspapers reports the jurors made the 11-1 ruling last Friday after a week-long trial in a wrongful death lawsuit filed by the families of Heath Becker and Spencer Benson. Last Saturday, a Stevensville resident found himself bound with duct tape after he reportedly threatened the owner and bartender at the Rustic Hut with a weapon. According to Ravalli County Sheriff Chris Hoffman, workers at the Rustic Hut believed that Jeremy Estep was too intoxicated and asked him to leave, saying that when he sobered up in the morning, they would give him back his driver's license.
The individual wanted his ID right now, came back into the bar later that night and became assaultive towards the bartender and the owner of the bar, to the point that the two men ended up having to subdue him and simply used duct tape, which is what they had available, to hold him there until law enforcement arrived.
Sheriff's deputies arrived shortly after Estep had been subdued with that duct tape.
Frankly, probably a pretty smart thing, given, not advocating people duct tape each other, but, given the fact that the man was assaultive, taking him into custody like that and, I guess, conducting a citizen's arrest, to me, I guess I would view it more like they did what they needed to do in self-defense without having to hurt this man.
According to Hoffman, Estep was charged with assault with a weapon. He made his court appearance, bail set at $30,000. This morning, Lieutenant Governor Angela McClain will be visiting the U of M campus to host an equal pay rally in support of Governor Steve Bullock's equal pay legislation. McClain will be joined by Senator Diane Sands and other UM student leaders.
And so Senator Sands and Sean and I will speak to the importance of folks in Missoula and across the state advocating for the three pieces of legislation that are a part of the conversations that women and men across the state have had for the course of the last year on behalf of Governor Bullock and the Equal Pay for Equal Work Task Force.
McClain says the three pieces of legislation include one that comes that's going to be introduced Friday, looking at pay transparency. Next is a longevity for state employees bill to be introduced early in February. Lastly, a bill to remove the 10-week limitation on unemployment insurance if someone's a victim of domestic violence.
It is so very important for Montanans to step up and stand up for equal pay across the state of Montana, because right now women in Montana make 67 cents on the dollar compared to their male counterparts. We have three pieces of legislation that will help us eventually close that gap here in the great state for our daughters, our sisters, our mothers, and our friends. And we hope that folks will stand with us. In
his State of the State address, Bullock said the disparity was 74 cents to every dollar. The rally would take place at 10:30 this morning at the University Center Ballroom. News Talk Time, 6:10.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Mostly sunny skies through the end of the week into your Saturday. High temperatures will stay in the mid to low 40s with their lows in the 20s. By Sunday, we'll bring in a chance of rain and snow. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for KECI 13.